Greetings. This is Dr. Williams, your superintendent, here for our flipped board meeting. And this is, of course, for our board meeting that will take place on June 6th, Thursday, June 6th at 5 p.m. In the Selma High Media Center. And so you should have your packet in front of you, hard copy, or you can look at it on Assembly. It's also published online already. And as always, we of course have approval of our agenda and financial reports. Included with the financial reports this month is also the budget amendment too. So please take a look at that. And as always, if you have any specific questions, you can reach out to me or contact Ms. Harris and let her know what those specific questions are. And again, especially if there's a particular item or check number that you've got questions about that we may need to research prior to our board meeting. After that, of course, we will have our Team Selma moments, and I'm super excited to celebrate several teachers who received their Google certification. And in Assembly, you can see that there's an explanation of what that means. This is a distinction that educators can receive by just basically showing their knowledge of the Google Classroom suite. And we had 6 teachers who received this certification. It's a level 1 status certification. And in Assembly, when you get a chance to actually go to the website, there's also a link that has some frequently asked questions just to share a little bit more. Many of our teachers use Google Docs to share rubrics with their scholars. Some of them use it for students to even turn in work. And it's a great platform as we look at how we can infuse more technology into our classrooms. So that is our Team Selma celebration for this month. Next, moving to the superintendent's report. You all have received some information about the Advancement in Technology funds. We do have the application, and it's due later this fall. I believe it's due August 15th. And we want to be ready to submit no later than mid-July. And if we can be prepared to do it sooner than that, then that would be great as well. But if you check in, again, in Assembly, I do have a brief summary of this particular item and also the dollar amount that we are eligible to receive. I do think that we need to have a discussion about this on how we want to use those monies, so please bring your ideas. My initial thoughts are looking at upgrading security and safety in all of our schools, as well as providing transportation for our scholars at School of Discovery, R.B. Hudson, and Selma High School who live more than 2 miles from the school. So this is for discussion at our board meeting next week. So again, think of your ideas and give me a call if you've got something specific that you want to run by me in terms of how those monies can be used, because there are specific areas that we can actually use those advancement and technology funds. Next is STEAM in the Black Belt. Recently, our representative, House Representative Prince Chestnut, asked me to come to the House Ways and Means Committee to present about the work that we're doing in Selma City Schools around STEAM. And I used the presentation that our STEAM team from R.B. Hudson presented at Georgia Tech earlier this month. And basically just shared with them the work that we're doing, particularly at R.B. Hudson, and framed it as STEAM in the Black Belt, because we're looking at how we can create a demonstration site at R.B. Hudson and share the great things that we're doing around STEAM with the rest of the Black Belt and beyond. The committee was extremely impressed with the work that we're already doing. And of course, as you can see in the presentation, that I actually also had an ask in terms of funding that we could use to further our STEAM education at R.B. Hudson, to include upgrades to facilities as well as to technology and the use of adjunct instructors and so forth. We're doing great things at R.B. Hudson, and I do think that STEAM education is going to help us change the trajectory of our student outcomes, our academic outcomes at the school. So when you get a chance, please review the STEAM in the Black Belt document that's there, and that is the presentation that I shared with the House Ways and Means Committee. All right, next we've got the consent agenda items. And as always, I do ask that if you've got a particular question about any of these items that you let us know, and especially if it's something that you think needs to be pulled from consent so that we would have further discussion on it. The first item is our summer food service program and food service agreement. And this is an agreement with the city of Selma, and it's a routine agreement that we do each year so that we can provide summer feeding throughout the city. And so the city of Selma is the sponsor and we are the vendor. And as you can see from the document that's attached, it does detail the cost of breakfast and the cost of lunch. The city cuts a check for us, reimbursing us for the meals that are served at the end of summer. And so this is an awesome way for us to ensure that our scholars and families do have these meals throughout the summer. And this starts at the beginning of June. And if you have any questions about this, please let me know beforehand. And I will most certainly work with Ms. Adams to ensure that we have answers to any questions on this particular agreement. And it's an agreement with the city that has to be signed by me for the school district, and then of course the mayor representing the city of Selma. Also, we have our Selma City Schools Employee Expectations for Excellence, or EEE, since we have to make everything an acronym. Now, this is the result of the work that we did with Upslope. And as you know, Dr. Dave worked with our board at our board retreat, and then he came back for several days to work with a team of community members as well as school stakeholders to help develop an employee expectations for excellence. And I'm recommending this be approved by the board. You do have several documents that are attached. The first is a letter from me that details the purpose of the EEE. It's intended to support board policies and district rules and regulations, as well as operating procedures. It's not intended to substitute good judgment, and nor does it cover every possible ethics or conduct situation. But it is a great overview of what our actual expectations are. And this letter will be given to every employee, and during new employee orientation, we will actually spend some time talking about each of these expectations. And since it's new for everybody, we will also begin our year with an overview for all employees of what those employee expectations are. The next item is the actual employee expectations for excellence. And there are 12 items here. Starts off with report to work on time, prepare for and perform all assigned duties. Number 7 is communicate in a truthful and timely manner using established lines of authority. 9, maintain confidentiality of information as required under federal laws and state statutes, as well as board policy, district policy, and regulations, and so forth. But there are 12 items here, and upon approval, each of us will sign this so that employees do know that we stand together as we look at ensuring that we have these expectations in place. The other item is the implementation plan, and this just basically details the tasks as well as who's responsible for each task in order to implement our employees' expectation for excellence. And as you can see, I am the responsible person for each of these items, and we have already begun moving forward with these in terms of introducing it to you all, and then requesting that you approve the distribution of it, which is what I'm asking for or recommending for our June meeting. Now, along with this, part of our contract with Upslope also included an online tool, and you did get a brief snapshot of that at our board retreat. And our employees absolutely loved this aspect because it does take a lot of the guesswork out of what we call progressive discipline, in that you can actually use a framework to determine how to move forward with employee discipline. And so we're looking forward to being able to use that tool to get consistency throughout all of our schools and departments as it relates to implementing our employee expectations for excellence. So let me know if you have any questions about that. The other piece of the work with Upslope was the school board ethical expectations, and you do have a copy of this as well. And this is what Dr. Dave talked to us about at our board retreat. And so he did, based on our conversations with him at the board retreat, he did do a draft for us. And if there are items that we want to change, of course we can change it. But I urge us to do so and then go ahead and approve this as well. And this is just basically our expectations of how we communicate with each other. The highlights are equity in attitude, trustworthiness in stewardship, honor in conduct, integrity of character, commitment to service, student-centered focus. And then again with an approval date, and also each of us would sign this. And then the goal would be to have a press release announcing the approval of each of these, the employee expectations for excellence as well as the board ethical expectations. Just showing that united front as we move forward on our pathway towards excellence. The final item on our consent agenda, oops, I'm sorry, let me go back up. Actually, yeah, there is one more item on our consent agenda, is equipment removal. And this is just obsolete equipment that, technology equipment that we're looking to remove. And it's from various schools. And so we'll have the document attached with those particular schools in your packet. Next, we will move to new business. We don't have any old business on the agenda. And under new business, we of course have our personnel recommendations, and I will get these items uploaded to you, and you will have the personnel report no later than Monday. If you've got any specific questions prior to that, let me know. We will have the bulleted items in terms of what's on the recommendation uploaded in Assembly today. Next, we've got superintendent contract, and there'll be more information on this uploaded as well as the actual contract for recommendation, my contract for recommendation. The final item is resolution reverting property back to the city of Selma. And this is, of course, in light of the fact that we did close Bird First Class Early Learning Center in Cedar Park. And of course, we know that in the deeds for each of these schools, there is a reversionary clause. And so Attorney Campbell did prepare a resolution where we're asking these to be reverted back to the city, as well as a letter to the mayor. And those items will be included in your hard copy packet, and they're also in Assembly. And if you have any questions about those, please, again, let me know as soon as possible. I will give you all the weekend to review everything and look forward to speaking with each of you either Monday or Tuesday. But as always, feel free to call me this weekend or at your convenience if there's a particular item that you do have a question about. And we'll have some additional reminders and that sort of thing, I'm sure, at our board meeting as well. Looking forward to seeing you all soon. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And as always, thank you so much for your support.